All right, so now we're just going to kind of get into our summation type of thing at this point. Uh, I mentioned before the experience of health being body, mind, heart, and spirit. Um, and we got different levels of each of those. Sometimes we can be very fit in our experience of body and bodily health, but at the same time be very destitute in terms of our heart experience, hardly ever talking with our family, having talking very few with any friends that we trust, abstaining from having very regular routine interaction and relationship and gatherings with people. That's a depravity. That's a destitute. I'll say depravity. That's a destitution of the heart, the fitness of the heart. Even when the body and mind are very strong, the mind is studying and thinking about things. The experience of the heart is low, and thus the spirit, the experience, the health of the spirit might be somewhat low as well, because the spirit is connected with each of the different types. So, anyways, that's an example of what we're talking about. Um, Body, mind, heart, and spirit well-being. In our readings this week, in our weekly studies, there's the introduction to the doctrine of the mean, and it provides a very valuable teaching. Talks about equilibrium and harmony, and describes that equilibrium is when one sits quietly and observes the motion around oneself, gets further acclimated, attuned with that motion, and rather than feeling threatened or stressed by it, um, just understanding what's going on, observing the nature and the motion around oneself when being still. That's the equilibrium. Harmony is when the person decides to get up and go back into the realm and practice having and being um, a full-time participant. So um, I think I just articulated that well. I was asleep when I did that, so I was sleeping when I wrote this. So sue me if it goes too straight, whatever it is. That reference was going to get out one way or the other because I've been thinking about that song from waking up. Anyways, body, mind, heart, and spirit. So equilibrium is being still and seeing the nature of the things around us, the nature of the movement around us. And then harmony is when we return into the movement amidst the things that are moving around us. So that's a helpful way of framing the methodology of healing, as Brethren, as Dr. Doobie describes, cultivating that stillness and meditation, samadhi, mindfulness of what's going on around oneself. Very much so, yes, exactly. We agree. Um, One thing that's intended to be shared is chapters of creation. I think before I do that, though, I'm just going to talk about this other point, which is the seven chakras. So again, coming from a sense of yoga, as brethren Ace and Alicia talk about, and also coming from an experience of health physiology, the anatomy, it'd be interesting to hear what Dr. Doobie knows and thinks about the seven chakras. And as a summary description, just for people's information, there are seven chakras in the body. I'm just thinking about it. Dr. Doobie should definitely know about this and like hear talk about this with his professional knowledge. So the seven chakras extend. There are seven chakras. One is the root chakra. That's at the base of the vertebra, the tailbone. When sitting down, it's like the root, and it's understood again in a very spiritual sense as the root that builds the trunk of the tree, and it's essentially physically the spinal cord that goes all the way up to the top of the crown of the head. That's the alignment of the chakras along that line, and the root chakra is at the bottom of that. So it's associated with the earth element. Then there's the sixth chakra. Excuse me, I said the sixth. There's the second chakra, which is the water chakra or the sacral chakra. That's affiliated with the element of the water, just above that. If you think about the first chakra being at the tailbone, when sitting down, it's right at the bottom of the spinal cord, the backbone. Then the sacral chakra, if you think about just where the water collects, below amidst the bowels, where the water collects. and I'm saying that intentionally ambiguously, where the water collects, where the liquid collects. That's the sacral chakra. Then moving up further, then there is the navel chakra, otherwise affiliated with the element of fire. This is where the digestion is. That's where the heat of the body is experienced as a generating experience. That's the fire chakra. Then a little bit above that, and again, you can think about where the food settles, where the fire settles within one's belly. That's where the fire, the navel chakra is. So then a little bit above that, there is the heart chakra, and the heart chakra is affiliated with the element of air, wind, and if you think about where the wind collects at the base of where the wind collects within one's chest, that's where along the center, that is where the heart chakra is. Then continue a little bit further, there's the fifth chakra, I'll say. And the fifth chakra is affiliated with the element of emptiness, nothingness, essentially. And one can locate that chakra as like the bottom of one's throat, where the voice is, or the voice is generated perceivably. That is the fifth chakra, and that again is affiliated with the element of emptiness, nothingness. Still, there's further. The sixth chakra is the third eye chakra, right here. And again, this chakra is somewhat disassociated with any type of element. It's considered like further existential and beyond the earthly realm, but for general consideration amidst the origins of this knowledge. The sixth chakra, the third eye, we affiliate with the element of seeds, the notion of procreation, creation, creativity, but also beyond what is evident. So that is part of our guidance as well concerning the chakras. That's the sixth chakra, and then the seventh chakra is the crown of the head at the top. And again, it's not affiliated with any specific element. It's just recognized as the top, the crown of all the chakras. So that being said, what we also can share is that there are 10 or 10 sfirot. Sfirot is a teaching of Kabbalah from the tradition of Israel. The chakras come from India, by the way, and it does matter. It does matter. Just respect knowledge. This 10 sfirot come from Israel, and it's very interesting how there's a very strong overlap between the 10 sfirot and the 7 chakras. One of the significant differences is that, again, the chakras are very linear up the spinal cord all the way up to, or the backbone all the way up to the crown head. And the points are periodic along that sequence. The 10 sfirot is basically like a chart. There are 3 levels, and at the 3 levels, they're basically 3 sfirot. One is a centering one, and then one on the left, and then one on the right. And they're actually like limbs, branches. And so each level has its own characteristics, and then each sfirot, each sphera has its own specific characteristic that's balancing amidst the center. And there's an overlap between the centering sfirot and the chakras at the navel, heart, and third eye specifically. Also the crown. Actually also the voice chakra as well. And at the particular levels, at each level, one level is at the third eye level. So there are 3 sfirot, center, left, and right. And there's each one is a level of authority. It's a matriarchic kind of guidance. And the third, well, without getting into all the details, that's a lot of details. But it's basically just like aligns itself with the chakra. So there, and again, this is ancient wisdom that comes from different places that even the practitioners, the leaders today, don't talk a lot about in terms of like that congruence. So there's significant implications in terms of health. You can already see, now I'm starting to be awake now. I'm starting to talk, starting to listen to myself now. But there's just so much ancient wisdom about just not the it's the primordial nature. When Dr. Doobie is a brain surgeon and practicing on the back, already know about those energy points along that line. And the tremendous significance when we just think about what the nervous system is, or what we perceive the nervous system as, and knowing the power of the mind, not just the cognition, but just as a portal between the infinite realms of infinity, the heavens, and then this earthly experience, and how that's processed through the mind, and the nature of that nature of that processing along the lines of where the chakras are found, and how when we are mindful of the chakras, how that influences our mindfulness to have a further healthy and harmonious relationship with the heavens and earth simultaneously. It's not a conquest. I feel like a 17-year-old with a Texas accent talking to a teacher. You got to reach their hearts. You can't just talk to them. It's not just about a paycheck. You got to give your all. This is the future of our society. Paraphrasing. What's the brother's name? Where is he at? Who's helping him? Who's supporting him? Who's giving him jobs and a place to stay? All the things that be him in this life. So anyway, that's a side note. Talking about social work and healing. But again, we're on chakras and Sphirot. So anyways, that's some of the joints about chakras and Sphirot. Am I still pretty? Am I still pretty? Am I still pretty? All right, that's still some of the joints about the chakras and Sphirot. Here's the thing now. Here's the new thing. The world premiere joints of what we share. And again, being that this is ancient wisdom, the chakras and Sphirot are, I ain't saying nothing new about this. But here's a consideration. One is recognizing that at each of the chakras, along the lines of the chakras, there being branches. We can compare it to the Sphirot, the left and right, amidst the central points of the Sphirot. But this is something distinct. What we're describing here is that at each of the chakras, there are the consideration of branches, that the chakras are a tree, a plant, because that's what we're taught, Ashvata and otherwise. The chakras are a plant. And at each chakra along that line of the stem, there are branches that reach into the realm of the world. So that's one thing, and it influences our relations with the world from those branches, which is one of the reasons of there being benefit in being disciplined and not just giving oneself over to the senses. So that's not what we're specifically talking about here. It's this. Studying the chakras as a tree. For each of us has this. Studying the chakras as a tree. One of the other considerations is observing the chakras as the sequences of life. That the beginnings of life are the root chakra, where we come from. The womb of our Moors. The earth chakra. Actually, the earth chakra is before that. The earth chakras are our roots, and additionally, then there's the sacral chakra, the water chakra, and that being the life stage of womb, of being nursed, and additionally, then there's the fire chakra, of like getting further enveloped in the world, the volatility of the world, the temptation, the elements of the world, and additionally, then in the heart chakra, with the element of air, the wind, there's a consideration of like having this sense of discovery, of going out and venturing into the world and learning whether it's through international travel, whether it's through reading, whether it's through relationship experience or whatever, but just venturing out, being of the wind at that stage of life. And then at the next chakra, the voice chakra of emptiness, like recognizing amidst those travels, like the lack of the necessity of many things in this life and the value of emptiness in order to have better mindfulness and less stress. And then further above is the sixth chakra stage of life, which is again creativity, relationship with procreation, the cultivation of ideas, solutions, and otherwise. And then the seventh chakra is the crown chakra, which is like the culmination of knowledge and relationship with the oneness, sovereign mind, letting go of the trappings of convention and otherwise. But anyways, it's just perceiving those seven chakras as a progression of life cycles, life experience, stages of life. And each of us goes through that. And each of us can find ourselves at one stage of that chakra, one stage of that spectrum at this moment. And that argument can be made for any of the stages of the chakras. So anyways, that's one thought. That's I shared some of the politics. I talked about not being a citizen. I didn't talk about having a law degree or these other things. I didn't talk about being locked up and persecuted and tortured, called crazy. I didn't talk about going overseas, across the pond to seek asylum. I didn't talk about being forcefully deported back here. And didn't talk about being involved with the Parliament of the World's Religions or other entities in terms of doing kumbaya for over 20 years. Didn't talk about doing scriptural reasoning and that being my specialty, spiritual teacher, Rastafari community, and otherwise. The reason why I make reference to those at this moment is particularly to articulate why there's a lack of patience with a lot of the politics today in the United States at this point. We and I spend a lot of years, many years, and whilst experiencing vicious atrocities, molestation and abuses and torture against ourselves from people employed by the United States, even amidst that, we continue to engage kinfolk from the United States through the years and additionally. However, and it's all the while we know the nature of citizenship and that everybody who claims to be a citizen is exactly doing the nasty things that are being witnessed. The things that are done by the United States. Everybody who claims to be a citizen is guilty of that. And that's nasty. And we even knowing that to this day, we abstain from again, beating people over the head with it or whatever else. Just trying to find to be loving, to be patient, to be empathetic. And when people pretend like people are not involved in the atrocities, and additionally, which is the nature of a democracy, everybody who's a citizen within it is responsible. That's not hyperbole either. It's necessary to recognize. We continue to work with people. The challenge now is that when things become increasingly contentious and volatile and hostile towards us, we leave. We go to find political asylum with another nation, Denmark. That's where my grandfather was born and raised. And then when we are refused for that, citing the official status of the United States as a safe country, and we are forcibly deported back here, at that point, there's less patience to deal with like the fakeness or the duplicity or otherwise. Knowing kinfolk are doing the best they can still, there's only so much. And so now, after being forcibly deported here, there's less patience, just plainly said. For people who for liberals and otherwise who want to like work with the system, We don't hate on that. We've never hated on that. We disagree with it. We say it's causing harm. We don't hate on people, and we've like tolerated, or we've been patient. We haven't been too belligerent or whatever else. We've been as trying to be as like understanding and listening, and additionally, but at this point, we have less patience. So if we seem like harsh or just very blunt or otherwise, over 20 years of atrocities, um, we have less patience for the gaslight and for the avoidance and otherwise. And we're just candid. Don't hate anybody. We love everybody. But when it comes to solutions, and additionally, um, it's disadvantageous to pretend or to be very coddling towards any citizen, liberal, conservative, or otherwise, because at this point, like, people need to know the bullshit that people are in, because a lot of Americans have the sense of invincibility, and like this indoctrinated culture of pretending that things are not exist, but actually it's a sense of superiority, recognizing or perceiving that, oh, we don't have to address it because these are peons and they can't do anything to us, and nobody knows that anybody that can do anything to us, they don't know about this as well, so we can do whatever we want. The thing is that that's not applicable to today, and whilst there may be kinfolk who are perceived as peons, they're also kinfolk who are studying and watching. And so, again, it gets to the point where it's beneficial just to be honest and like address like the facts. Excuse me. So, um, one way, I didn't say this before, but one thing about talking about the system, and then I guess I'll get into reading the chapters of creation. I think I woke up a little bit talking about the chakras and sphere. I think I've said basically what I had to say about it for a moment. And again, along the lines of health, along the lines of yoga, along the lines of relationship with nature, spiritual consciousness and awakening, um, and the attunement of body, mind, heart, and spirit, uh, practicing the equilibrium and the harmony. So basically, I'm just describing politics right now. Before I get into the chapters of creation, and I have to say what the chapters of creation are. But like I said, we're off the grid, and we're not citizens. We don't own anything. Those are part of the protocols of who we are, what we do. We practice the Panchasilas, the world ethos, peace, sharing, chastity, honesty, and sobriety. There are additional elements, additional disciplines and principles that we practice, the additional stories that we study and practice as well. But that's basically just of it. And the premise is reconciliation around the world, and doing it in a very knowledgeable and rooted um, way. And so, if at any point we sound like, again, just very like belligerent or crass or unsensitive, a lot of the political correctness within American culture is so bullshit. It's like having these strict rules of etiquette on a pirate ship. Oh, these pirates are so uncouth. We have to codify our own set of. Oh shit! The fuck? Oh shit! Somebody just ran all the way into the sukkah. So I don't know if they're drunk. They can't make this. That can't be accident. But the people that are right there, I gotta walk out. We gonna watch this now. Yo, we in this thing. This is crazy. This was not an accident. I don't know what we're about to get into. They're trying to get out now. This is the kinfolk right here. Don't even know what they on. It's not even crazy. It's not even drunk. You all right? What's going on? Yo! They don't look drunk. That is some crazy shit. That is some crazy shit. This is the scene right here. They done bulldozed. Wow. Shit is getting real. Is this visible? What seems to have happened as I was talking is that vehicle travels. You can see the tread marks that go all the way into the sukkah and just crash into the vehicle right here. This literally just happened. Crash into the vehicle right there, and then further into the sukkah right over there. And so again, this is the path that the vehicle traveled along the grass. That's not by accident. That wasn't drunkenness. That was skilled tactical maneuvering. So, and there was no drunkenness doesn't come 90 degrees off of the streets. So that was, and you could see the brethren in that. They were coherent. I said, "You all right?" Yeah. They didn't even seem angry. They seemed like on a mission. Like I said, I didn't know I was going to get when coming out here, because this looks like intentional aggression, hostility. And like I said, me coming out here, didn't know if they was going to be blazing or what. So those are the tread marks. This is crazy. That's the tread marks. So they came speeding. If you could hear the audio on their recording, I got to make sure this all takes now. It's 2:20 a.m. right now. 2:28 a.m. So we got enough storage. The battery is running out. This is what we're dealing with. So the kinfolk in there, I'm just going to say the description. There's the police cruiser. I didn't call nobody. Somebody probably did. Didn't see any lights. I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to let the scene speak for itself. But obviously that's not an accident. They maneuvered in between that telephone pole and the tree. You can see the tire marks through the grass line. Obviously it's intentional. They're not drunk. A drunk driver hits a tree, hits a car, hits something else, doesn't drive directly through that. So it's intentional. They're coming from the street. They didn't come out the driveway here. That would have been the most accessible thing. They drive along the tree line. So obviously they have a target in mind, and went all the way to this van. You can see the damage on the van right there, and then continue to plow into the sukkah. So maybe that was the direct target, whether it's a general thing, aggression towards something that's perceived as a Jewish thing, whether it's something that's specifically towards us, knowing us. It's black folk, African kinfolk, two young men, early 20s, seemingly, who were in the car. I don't know how visible it is in the recording. However, that's the condition. I'm the only one here still. It was very loud, so I don't know how much people can sleep through that. You can see again the damage to the vehicle. They came in. Their car was smoking. I don't know if it was stolen or whatever else. I don't know what the plates are. If they it could be visible on that. We're not talking with the police, so I'm just saying this for the record. It's a public record at this point. And again, no shots fired, no hostilities, no curses. Y'all all right? The first brethren who got out when I was looking out the window was wearing white. It looked like almost like scrubs, like a nurse outfit. Another police cruiser walking by or driving by. But he had like a all white. The other brethren, there was two brethren in the vehicle that I could see. It was like a light green, kind of a small compact car, maybe like a Toyota or something. But drove all the way through here, and then hit this joint, and then stopped. And again, don't know if I'm coming in and they're drunk, they need help, but obviously that's not drunkenness right there, or it's hostility and it's just intended to be what it is right here, or whether it's like a setup of like, yo, we at you, what's up? So it's difficult to discern how to approach the situation at the moment. You saw what happens. The vehicle here is significantly damaged. The door, the rear end of it, and additionally, ain't nobody see nothing. So that shares some kind of insight into the conditions. Still ain't nobody come through. That shows insight into the conditions. And in the advent of it being an intentional, tactical thing, again, punk ass cowards, passive aggressive bullshit. So in that scenario of it being a tactical incident, somebody puts up to it. Additional cruisers. Somebody puts them up to it. Yeah, and I don't know how long that car got to run at this point. How this thing can go, because it was smoking. The engine was smoking when it left, and they didn't look like professionals. It looked like kinfolk getting out of like a drunk car situation, but they didn't even sound mad. Y'all all right? Yeah. I didn't feel like anger in that response, but at the same time, this is not an accident. Driving all the way right in between, speeding through that, and basically the way it looks like it was planned, actually, because the way it sounded was that they were driving at a certain angle, hit a couple things, and then like went and sped up. And so it was like they knew that they were going to be going through this thing, and they wanted to take this out, so they drive basically slowly at first to get through this point, and might have hit a few things on the way, maybe the tree or whatever on the way. But then when they found that they cleared that space, that's when they hit it amidst the grass and everything to get like the full impact of the vehicle and the sukkah and everything else. Interesting. One of the thoughts from earlier today is that about the streets and how the streets keep things honest, how the streets keep gangsters and governments honest. But at the same time, there's also recognition that the streets be tripping on occasion. And this is one of those occasions, because this is where things are at this moment. Um, and again, black folk, you can't tell who's employing the black folk because it could be a lot of different kinfolk, whether it's LGBTQ, which we got warnings of already, whether it's Little Italy that we done had a situation with recently already. I had recent comments, whether it's just other kinfolk from society. Um, there's a lot of usual suspects, and that find black kinfolk just by happenstance and circumstance to be willing to take things at low prices. So I can't say it could be the black community, the black militant community, doing their own thing because of things we say recently, and not bowing down to people's liking. Another police cruiser. So a lot of usual suspects, but it's just the conditions. It's the wild, wild west. So that's what the conditions are, and all punk cowards on the record again. Evidence right here. You're showing yourself. You're showing your ass. Punk cowards. You got beef. Yo, either talk like people, talk like men. Because that's where it's coming from. It's punk men, one way or the other. Whether you're working through women or otherwise, with fake queen pins or whatever else. But at the end of the day, on this earth, it's men. So for the men, either be men and talk. Respect man to man and otherwise, and say what your problem is, and find a way of working out. And if you don't have those skills of communication, then yo, square up and don't do punk bullshit, coward shit like this and run off, or hire men to do your dirty work because you're too much of a punk coward to do it yourself. Punk ass cowards. I do not stutter in this respect. Please cruiser again. Punk ass cowards. You're showing your punk ass selves. You know where I'm at. Stupid shit. Didn't even seem mad. I wasn't trying to rush down here. I'm trying to think. I didn't even say the full blessing before I got out here because I'm like, yo, they look like they trying to bounce quick. Again, this is unprecedented, so I guess that's impressive in some way. But man, this is bullshit. It just is frustrating, like dealing with again, cowards. Yeah. What else? That's it. Yeah, I say we talk to police. The police can have access to this as anybody else does. So we don't hide things. And people say, "Oh, you talk this." No, shut the fuck up. Don't do this stupid shit. We're not talking to the police, but yo, this is for anybody and everybody. You're the one showing your stupid ass, punk ass selves. Blah blah blah. Yeah, I'm talking to a screen right now. So that's much of what the situation here is at the moment. Kinfolk are rolling up like they might want to talk. There's going to be some type of investigation, I imagine. But at this point, I think they're still trying to find this vehicle. Not even talking to me. That's okay though. No hostility, understandability. We've already articulated what our diplomacy is at this moment, so that's for the record. Um, and probably don't want to be also on the video situation either. Trying to think if there's anything else to share. I was talking about something about Dr. Doobie and revolutionary social work as I was falling asleep from 2.5 hours ago. So again, manifestation. This is it. I told you we get warnings about going on too long, and this is a further thing. So yo, guess what? We don't give a fuck what people think, or if people are disturbed or whatever else. People need to wake the fuck up and do better. So if they don't like what we share or whatever, yo, we are pieces of shit. We're nothing. We walk with God. We're nothing in this life. We are peons, no better or worse than anybody else.
So if people are being bothered by whatever we do, we ain't begun no weapon. We don't hate nobody. We're not at anybody. So for anybody to have beef with us, yo, they got problems with themselves. And it speaks for itself. You're showing yourself. We do our best simply to speak truth. That's it. You got a problem with the truth. That means you got a problem with yourself. So if we sound crass, as I said before, it's because we are losing patience. No, we have less patience, put it that way, with stupid bullshit. Kinfolk are drunk. Everyone's. I guess that's what I'm supposed to do is read that part of the chapters of creation. I guess that's what we get into now. How about that? We go back into the situation. So that's what we do, and that's actually what we have to share. That's the benefit thing. I guess I'm awake now. That's the benefit of what we have to share. Also, again, the sign on the door has a warning to the city of Cleveland Heights and people claiming management here, a serious warning. So that may be one of the reasons why kinfolk don't want to approach me at the moment. If I retire back into the domicile, people might feel I'll bring the letter out here and then I'll wrap up and I'll see if kinfolk want to say anything. But just for the record, we are not speaking with the police in this respect about this. So whatever we got to say, it's on here. I can give the reference to this when we post it Monday, God willing. However, for the moment, this is what it is. And what it is right now is bullshit. Because punk-ass cowards, for the record, you are punk-ass cowards. You're children of God, but you're also devil. Everybody is. Everybody's a child of God. Everybody's devil. That's what we got to say with the chapters of creation. And in the meanwhile, you're wrestling just like we're wrestling. And right now, you're tripping. So, and I'm out here on my bare feet. So, is this supposed to scare us? What it does is like, yo, now we gotta fix that. Come on, man. We just dealt with fixing that joint up before. Now we gotta fix it again. And you done messed up brethren's vehicle. He gotta get that fixed. What kind of insurance coverage is that? He wasn't even driving. Done caused up all this damage and such. Stupid. Ignorance. Like just like I tell the drivers of the RTA. There's army ants, there's regular ants, there's even flying ants. And then there's ignorance. And that's some ignorance. Stupid shit. Coward bullshit. You're showing yourself, playing yourself. You're either slaves or you're cowards or you're both. That's it. I'm right here. Where's your sniper or something? Do I have a death wish? Am I taunting? I'm just saying. Alhamdulillah, ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allah wabham. Dao ke, dao fit chang, dao min ke, min fit chang, min. Ja Rastafari, Deus nos te kies in celle Santa Vakito nomentum, Vahigur Sanam. Baruch atah Elohim, Elohim men achelam. Amen. Kyrie eleison, seva mahastu sabigatahi, sabe sata bavantu sukitata. Fagabien, aqua ba upenda namani. Kyrie nesanami, chinde dam premier above me wonjaga. Ubuntu shabana fakitka. Shisha, como sonira, don't want to get up, pela my yellow walk, talk with Lokshin good. Go man again. God, we thank you for all the blessings. Ata jamia yatafanami. Ado, aho, no, shanti, amen. All right, so I'm just gonna wrap this joint up with what I was discussing before, which is this joint. And what this joint is actually, it's actually few things.